Welcome to the Wifed Up Now What podcast. This is your millennial marriage management advice, your one-stop shop. So if you are a wife-to-be or a new wife and is trying to figure out how do I manage this marriage that I have gotten myself into, you are in the right place. I'm Coriel.
And I am TK. And this is the Grown Woman TV original, okay? The number one, the Big Boss podcast. You already know what to do. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. And while you at it, go ahead and get that Roku app. We on there too.
Yes. Any place that you can find your favorite podcast, your favorite show, Grown Woman TV is also in that space. And we have a very special guest that's joining us today. We got Dr. Tiffany in the building.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. And then we're going to have a little fun before we get a little frisky.
Okay.
For today's show. So
very well.
Introduce yourself.
I am Dr. Tiffany Davis Henry. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I'm a sex therapist, and I do the things. So I don't even know where to start because it's just so it's a lot.
That resume is so long.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I think I originally I'm a sex therapist here in Atlanta. I've hosted TV shows on ABC, The Revolution, a nighttime talk show called All About Sex on TLC. I've done Good Morning America, Today's Show, Dr. Oz, Steve Harvey, Drew Barrymore, The Talk, The View, all the things.
Some respect on her name is what she's saying.
Do some writing, have my own podcast, Intimate Details Podcast. I have a CBD line, Shop Kinky Green.
Come on.
Private practice here in Atlanta. Just a lot.
All of the things.
All the things.
So if y'all can't read between the lines, this week's episode is entitled Wifey Keeps It Spicy. And we got
we gotta keep
spicy
it
doctor
spicy
herself in the building.
Yes.
And it's going to be a little juicy conversation, but it's a really important conversation as well.
Very
because
important.
when we look at the statistics around divorce, when we look at the leading causes of divorce, like sexual incompatibility, infidelity, all of these things are at the top of the list. And we know these things, but we're not really having conversations about it. A lot of these topics are taboo. And the whole point of this Wifed Up Now What podcast is like, okay, girl, I'm wifed up, but now what? Like, what do I do now? How do I keep this thing going? Because we're not trying to be a statistic out here.
Okay. But you know what? Kudos to you guys for this ingenious idea, because a lot of people suffer in silence for a lot of different things, whether it's health issues, but certainly when there's trouble in your marriage, a lot of times people don't feel like they have somebody to go to talk about these things. Yeah. So the fact that you're opening the door to these conversations and just creating a space for women to kind of figure these things out before they start having these conversations, I think is key. So kudos to you guys.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
very much. And you
the
are
space.
a wife.
Yes.
And how long have you been in the game?
Wow. We got married in 2007. I'm not going to do the math because that's not my strong suit. We celebrate every single year. Yeah. But yeah, we got married in 2007. We dated though for 6 years prior to being married. So we have a 9-year-old daughter. So we partied hard and, loved on each other for a long period of time, got married, partied some more, and then, had a kid. And so I feel like our foundation because of that is really, really strong. Wow. And he married a sex therapist. So, things are great.
That part.
Okay.
Things
are
great.
Right.
So who better to have here in the hot seat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this funny picture that we're going to show up on the screen somewhere. I'm going to show it to you. Okay. It's not going to show up on that screen. All right. I got this one, though. TK, I got it this time for real. And my question is, because today's topic is all about intimacy. So the question is there a such thing as too close?
See, I'm not doing that.
I remember this.
I'm not doing that.
So a double toilet, guys. Is that where you draw the line?
No, I drew the line way before that.
We didn't even get there.
So a double toilet to me, I do feel like there are some things and let me preface this by saying every couple is different. And the line for me may not be the line for you. That is what, we're not even in the same,
Not in the same neighborhood.
No, not for me personally. However, I don't want to yuck your yum. Okay? If that works for you, and God bless you if you find someone else who that works for.
That's fine.
That's the thing. Because oftentimes, especially in relationship, we're looking for the wrong thing. And if really that's what you want, those questions need to be asked way earlier in the relationship, because I'm not there, and my husband and I are never going to be there. I have no intention of being there. And if he wants me there, then we need to figure some things out.
Y'all got to talk about it. What about you?
Girl, what?
Can you, no?
So yes and no.
Okay.
Is there such thing as too close?
Yeah.
I feel
too
like
much intimacy.
I do feel like it can. What's the word I'm trying to use? I don't want to know everything so fast. Everything that I don't have to know.
Right.
I don't need to know what color your poop is. I don't need to know if it's runny or was it hard or was it like. But there are some people that like actually talking about those things. But at the same time, because was your answer that it's subjective, basically? For,
I mean, everybody has their thing. Everybody has their thing. Everybody has their kink. Some people get down like that, and that's fine. As long as you're partnered with someone who
I
hate to say equally yoked, but
literally,
and as long as you're partnered with someone who gets down like that as well. What comes into my office is someone who is partnered with someone who is not of the same mind and body, and you're trying to coerce or convince them that we should be doing this together, and it's just like
that's not my thing.
Not necessarily the case.
Not necessarily. These conversations are so interesting to me because I've considered myself to be very closed-minded in a lot of areas, and so my initial answer would have been, I think there's a such thing as too close. I think that there are just some things that,
and guess what? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's so fine to maintain that boundary. It is, you give
So
yourself permission to maintain that boundary if that is your boundary.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It reminds me of my mother. She was a very discreet woman. There was one thing that she was like, your man don't need to see you naked all the time. Your man don't need to know when you're on your cycle. Your man doesn't need to know if you use tampon. It was a very discreet, and that was something that I held to a standard. Then I was like, well, sometimes I'm gonna walk around this house naked. If I get out the shower and my panties are in the other room,
I'm gonna be naked for a minute.
I'm gonna be naked for a little while. And so I feel like my mind is broadening. And these type of conversations, I think, help too.
I think what tends to happen, we grow up, and rightfully so, our parents teach us values, right? They give us values. They tell us what's moral and immoral, right?
Yeah.
It's not until we start getting into our own, smelling ourselves, and starting to kind of using our own brains, right? And starting to think about the world from our own viewpoint and not theirs. And they're coming into that. They're giving you that wisdom based on their own experience. But you hadn't lived yet. You start growing up and living, and then you like, you know what? Damn it, I pay rent here.
Okay. Let me make some rules up in this house.
My nipples want to feel this air conditioning. Let's go.
And this baby gonna get what this. The baby gonna get what it
Absolutely.
gets. So there's a statistic. Speaking of parents, there's a statistic that says that 67% of new parents report a decline in relationship satisfaction during the first 3 years of a baby's life. AKA, shit is gonna hit the fan once you start having these kids. Once you have a family, 67% of people, these ain't my words, okay? This is 67% of people are saying that they're not as satisfied in their relationship. Are you getting this conversation? I know the answer.
It's hilarious. No. What's hilarious to me, this was my dissertation topic. It was low sex desire in women, a comparative study amongst stay-at-home and working mothers.
Oh, talk about it, please.
And well, here's the thing. This is what
I'm a
I
stay-at-home.
found. Are you?
I am. Have been for 8 years.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether you stay at home or not. You're going to have low sex desire.
So all women have low sex desire? Is that the bottom line?
Oh my God. At some point, I'm not saying that you do, right? At some point in our lives, the statistic is that 80% of women at some point will have low sex desire. That does not mean, and I think that number is low, actually. I think that at some point we all do. right? And it's dependent on so many different things. It could be dependent on illness. It could be dependent on medication. It could be dependent on hormones. It could be dependent on stress, lack of sleep, depression, the fact that I don't like the person that I'm sleeping with, cheating history. It could be dependent on so many different things. There's so many reasons. And that's what the study ended up finding was there are so many different reasons why a stay-at-home mom might be super exhausted. Number one, her day is 24 hours as opposed to going to work at a job for 8 hours and then coming home.
Out. Yeah.
Help. Right? So if a stay-at-home mom could get up at 8 or check in at 9 and then be off the clock at 5, she'd have energy for a lot more.
I pray my husband tunes in to this podcast.
But the fact of the matter is, at 5 o'clock, she's figuring out what dinner is, and at 6 o'clock, she's trying to make sure all the homework all the homework, for the baths, all of that. Hopefully, she gets to watch her own TV program.
Oh, no,
maybe, but she's probably continuing doing all of the things that happen. So she ending up working like 12, 14-hour days as opposed to an 8-hour. So to think that at that point, this tap comes on her shoulder and all she wants to do is be left alone and sleep and do what she wants to do. So, I mean, we all experience it. And I think when we start to be honest about that and give ourselves permission to feel how we feel in whatever moment, but also to advocate for ourselves and ask for what we need in the time that we need it. And hopefully we've partnered with someone who recognizes that and is willing to give us that when we need it.
Marriage requires so much self-awareness.
It does.
Because your husband will pick up things about you that you may not even picked up about you. Baby. Like, you don't even know the root of
course not.
The things to be able to communicate so that he can understand.
Of course not. Yeah.
Marriage
is one of the most vulnerable positions that we can place ourselves in. And for women like ourselves who are driven, who aren't really used to asking for help or don't want to, depend on someone else, it can be really challenging because what you need in relationship is community. You need help. You need to not have to do it all alone. And when you get that, when you partner with someone and allow them in to pick all of that up and you can trust them to do it, you can trust them with your heart, you can trust them to do the thing. Whole nother layer. But when that happens, it doesn't matter as much that I'm as tired as I am. Because you've lifted a weight off of me that now I can actually give you. I have the capacity, I have the room to give you something that you need in this moment as well.
I got so much.
I saw a clip, and I probably, girl, I sent you 25,000 clips, but I saw a clip that the woman was saying, like, in this stage, in this season, what turns her on, foreplay for her, treat me right.
Sure.
Help me around this house. Make sure that you done something for these kids. Make sure that you have taken care of something to lighten my load. Like, that's what's going to make me want to take these panties off.
Right.
That's what's going to get me excited. Not the things that I cared about when I was 21, because I don't care about that anymore.
At this season, it really is about that. It is about showing up as a partner. Showing up as a partner, not as just like, well, these are my wife's tasks and these are my tasks. Because all of the tasks belong to both of us.
Our tasks.
Sure
right.
Is.
So if the kids need to be bathed, you're not really waiting on me to get the bath water running. If you see they dirty, tell them to get their asses upstairs and start running the bathtub.
I feel like that's a language they have not tapped into.
Well, and has it ever been required?
Facts.
Has it ever been required? And here's the thing, and I'm not saying we, right? But I'm saying as women, sometimes we've created a culture because we are
exhausted.
No. Because we are so damn good at it so much.
We do it all.
What we tend to do, and I don't want to put all women and all men in any category or any box, but what we tend to do, we see something that needs to be done and we do it. Yeah.
That's true.
We jump to it.
That's true.
We don't allow things to linger, honey. We ain't got time to tarry. Okay? When shit need to be done, we go do it. Okay? And that's how our minds work. And we're so fast with it.
We are.
It comes natural. You ain't even know you realize you're doing it. It's just
whereas for them, that is not something that they as a culture, as a male culture, have ever had to do, especially if they've had a woman, a Black woman especially, that will pick that up, whether it be their mom, auntie, grandmother, sister, or whatever.
Yeah.
So what we have to learn is where we come from into relationship, where this person is coming. Because the things that we're mad at our spouses about and our partners about, it may be things that they don't even recognize about themselves. Going back to what you said, like you learn so much about yourself once you're in this type of relationship with someone.
Yeah.
You learn, damn, I am selfish.
Shit, I didn't realize I was doing all of that. Because you've been with yourself only for so long.
I don't pick up after myself. Oh, I could initiate helping out or getting dinner started when you're working late. I never really thought about it. I just thought you liked cooking all the time. I didn't realize that this was something I could take off your plate. Oh, I could wash the dishes since you cook.
Yeah.
Sure could.
Are you feeling like most women are just having the difficulty in expressing it, or do you also think there is a layer into how we are expressing the need,
you know what,
for you to partner?
A little bit of both. I do think that we walk into, I think our biggest mistake, one of our biggest mistakes is walking into a relationship thinking that our partner is just going to read our mind and understand what it is we want and need.
But do you think it's because we do that? Because I feel like
think that we over anticipate what the needs of everyone in the house is, and we go forth and fill those needs, fill in all those gaps and holes.
For sure.
And we want somebody to do that for us.
No.
Marry a woman. Marry
You
a
do.
woman. I think it's a man-woman thing.
We want
seriously.
somebody, yes. I mean, I also think that we love in the way that we want to be loved. Think about love languages, you know?
Yes.
We love somebody down, trying to show them this is what I need. This is how I want to be loved. They're over there enjoying it. They love it. But that doesn't mean that that's their love language.
I'm going to tell you, my husband told me that. I'm like, I'm cleaning this and I'm cooking gourmet meals. And he's like, babe, I really don't care at all about none of that. It could be a laundry,
Not that you don't appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate, but it's not.
thing.
Yeah, that's not. You're doing it to show love, and he's like,
And that's
you
what I
can
want.
Fuck me, and I'll be good.
That's all that
literally
is.
it. He literally wants to be called Big Daddy and put it down on him. That's about it. But I'm over here cleaning, thinking he really wants this clean house. But it's like, oh, that's.
Let me figure out what you
what
actually
you
want.
want.
And so now that we know that, brother, let me tell you how you can get easy access to exactly what you want. If I come home, because I believe, back to what you were initially saying, foreplay starts well before the bedroom, you know? So foreplay for you looks like, I already called a housekeeper. She gonna be there on Friday at 10 o'clock. You leave the house.
Sounds
You
good
don't
to
even
me.
have to be there while she there. Leave the
Now she
house.
putting you in the mood.
And let me go ahead and get these J's for you, because I heard you when you said you wanted a pair. Just go on over to Nordstrom and pick them up,
Yes,
because I've
ma'am.
already ordered them. Get you some lunch while you're there. Call Co.
Panera.
She's gonna meet you for lunch.
Oh my goodness.
And
Husbands,
just
I
come
hope y'all
back.
are watching.
Just
Literally-
come back at 5 and everything will be done. I'll pick up the kids. Don't worry about it. I got this taken. Those are the acts of service that you need. And I promise you, she will not come home with panties on.
what?
That
What?
part. It'll be, we don't know where they at.
The
kids like,
they ain't on.
They're not here.
I don't know where they at.
Okay. Like, my hair is standing up.
That's it,
Oh,
right?
talk to me nice.
Listen, but I think this is where that men are from Mars, women are from Venus things come from. It's like we are speaking. I'm over here speaking French. He's over here hearing Mandarin. We're having two totally different conversations.
Yeah.
And that to me is where this statistic, all of that comes from this disconnect in the communication.
I need to learn to connect.
Yeah.
We got to get into.
Girl, we got to have Dr. Tiffany come on here and just say what the husbands need to hear. And then say, baby, listen to this episode and see what y'all think. So, ladies, send your man over to listen to this episode.
Yes.
So another statistic, which is going to hurt y'all men's feelings when you send them over here. By 70 years old, 60% of men have erectile dysfunction.
I thought it was sooner than
Is that true? And is there something that can be done?
There's a lot that can be done. So erectile dysfunction, when we think about it, it's basically not being able to obtain or maintain an erection for as long as you want to.
So they
Okay.
can
Right.
go ahead and get up.
Maybe.
But they might not
It
be
might be
able to
just
stay up.
They may not be able to keep it up,
Yeah.
or it may not be as hard as they want, like, for as long as they want. And so certainly there are lots of things. And there's so many health conditions too that contribute to that. The one that pops into my mind always is diabetes or blood pressure issues. One of the best and worst gifts to this whole sexual revolution for men has been Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, all of that. It's a great drug. It's fantastic, but it's also a really tricky drug for a lot of people. Particularly as Black men, we know that we suffer from high blood pressure like nobody else. We know we suffer from diabetes like nobody else.
Yep.
These are both things that are dealing with our blood, sugar levels, all that, circulation, all of that kind of stuff, right? So, and I will be the first to tell you, I am not a medical doctor, but this is just what I know based on my experience, based on my studies, and based on the patients that I see. Erection is blood flow going to the penis, right? Blood pressure, Black men, high blood pressure, right? What are they on? They're on medications to lower their blood pressure. So what do you think that does to the penis?
Oh my gosh.
Lowers that pressure.
Lowers the pressure. And so they start to have trouble with erections.
We need some
Right?
those effects, like our brains explode.
No, that literally, because I thought of a few men.
Wow.
I ain't even gonna lie. I'm like, yeah, he do got a high blood. And I heard about the wife was complaining about.
And same thing with diabetes. A lot of times circulatory, they're having those circulatory issues as well. And, they're on medications to lower the blood pressure, to manage all of these things, but they also can disrupt blood flow going to the genitals as well.
Wow.
And so then the problem with medications like Cialis, Levitra, Viagra, not necessarily problems with those medications. When we don't understand the physiology of our bodies and we just go get one of these pills off the street because insurance and not having it, or having to just get one pill because they cost so much, right? You go and take this pill and you're undoing all of the good work that you're doing with this. Yes. And so you're seeing a lot of people in hospitals with heart issues or having heart attacks because they're taking something to raise their blood pressure that's already high. So I always ask people to just really be careful, be honest with your doctor about what it is you're taking, putting in and around your body, because that is something that is not to be, that you don't take erectile dysfunction lightly, but you also, if you have it, you really do want to talk to your doctor, because there could be a physiological reason, a medication issue that's causing it. And those are all things that can be adjusted. A lot of times people get what they'll self-diagnose with erectile dysfunction and just be like, okay, it's over. And it doesn't have to be the case. There could be a medication adjustment that can happen. There are certain exercises that you can do to help prolong.
Or like Kegels for men?
Kinda. Yeah, Kegels will work. I think we have to figure out. So anytime I see someone with a sexual dysfunction of any kind, I'm trying to figure out if it is biological, psychological, or social. Biological meaning, like, let's say there is a medication that I'm on that's causing it, or let's say you have something like high blood pressure or something like that, and that's causing the erections to not be what they're supposed to be. Psychological, perhaps I have performance anxiety. Or a lot of anxiety around just like having not been able to get it up in the past. So now I'm freaked out about it and I just need to work through that.
You're stressing yourself out at this point.
Right. And then sometimes, like we talked about before, it's a relationship issue.
I don't like you.
That part. And when your vagina or your penis understands like what it's supposed to do, but your brain and your heart are like, that ain't it, it will not work. There's so many women that come in saying that they can't have an orgasm with their partner or can't have an orgasm, right? But then, we start peeling back those layers. It's really, oh no, I have an orgasm just fine when it's my toy.
Okay.
Or I've had one, all my life. Is okay, well then what's going on with this one, right? Is it that he's not hitting the corner? Or is it that he hits the corner too much and he's out of the house and he's not respectful and he's with all these other people, and that's what's not allowing you to give yourself fully to this person? your vagina is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Wow.
Your vagina is smarter than you are. You're trying to make this work. And your vagina's like, no,
ma'am.
we're not here
Not
for
tonight.
That part. We're not here for him.
Wow.
that. Yes. So, yeah.
So your mind can want,
Oh, for sure.
but your heart is saying it's not safe.
Or your body is physically
Your body will shut down.
Responding to
There are
this
some
person.
times when
Oh,
your
or not.
vagina, even or your penis, will just shut down on you, and it is not a medical issue. It has a lot more to do with either the psychology of what's going on. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe there's trauma. Maybe there's so many other things going on, or perhaps there's something wrong in this relationship that is not happening that should be happening, or vice versa, or. I mean, it could just be functional. It could be that like what you're doing is turning me off and I'm not able to do this.
this is deep.
This
You know,
is so
there's
deep.
so many layers to it.
But there's hope.
Sure, of course. So that number does not surprise me that you said by age 70.
By age 70, 60%.
I mean, yeah, we'll have some sort of and I take it about as literally as I take the other statistics about the women, because at some point there's going to be, if you are a Black man in America, at some point your mind is going to be on something else when you want it to be on this person that's in front of you, and your body will fail you and not perform in the way that you want it to. Okay. So if we think about erectile dysfunction, it's just simply, I want my erection to last
Strong and long.
strong and long, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15.
I'm on 5.
And it didn't last that long. And I don't know why. And I'm freaking myself out. And that is erectile dysfunction. It is not functioning
Was
properly.
the 5 long or short? The 5 was short.
The average from penetration, average penetrative sex lasts about 5 to 7 minutes. That's
Are you
from
surprised?
putting the tip in to ejaculation. That does not include foreplay. It doesn't include any of the other stuff.
No, I'm not surprised. This just lets
That is
me know
average.
people be lying.
No, it's not that people be lying. We ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna put that on nobody's spirit.
Women are saying they're having sex for hours.
It could be.
They're fools.
They could be. I don't know who has time for that.
Please
I
stop.
don't.
Get somebody
I
else to do
don't.
it.
How y'all vaginas go through that?
Here's the thing.
Wow.
Here's
Just
what
all the-
happens.
Pounding. Pound
What?
town. Because they in pound
Well,
town.
first of all, lube is your friend. And if that's what you're into, again, how we started this, we not gonna yuck they yum.
Okay,
no,
right.
nothing wrong with
Let them
lubricant.
have your kink.
No,
Let them
have-
let you have your kink. You're right.
I'm not built for that.
You're
okay?
right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
I'm
You're
not
right.
built for
At
it.
all.
I got things to do. I'm
Do you
trying to
think
go
that
to
most
sleep.
women are? You feel like women are?
No, I think it's definitely a spectrum. I also think that people are doing things to enhance their lovemaking.
Got it.
So again, like the Viagra, and there's not a, I don't want to say that they're bad drugs because they're doing a world of good for a lot of people. But one of the things that we really have to look at too, when we're talking to young people who've grown up watching porn and don't know how to have adequate relationships and communication and all that stuff. They've grown up watching porn and watching these images of people having sex for long periods of time. So when they come into relationship thinking that sex should and does normally last that long,
Yeah.
without realizing that that particular performer has taken Viagra in order to last that long.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now they have a kind of a skewed reality of what their bodies should do. And that's when they go and seek out these things to last longer without realizing like your penis really isn't supposed to do that. It doesn't need to do that every time. Sometimes you can trick yourself into lasting longer. There's like the pull out method where you start to feel yourself coming, you pull out, and that's what's happening. A lot of times that's what's happening when they pull out and then they want to eat you right quick
Oh my
and then go
goodness.
back in.
Tell the secret.
You know, it's because they're starting to feel themselves ejaculate or getting very close, and they're trying to like hold it off a little bit.
That pisses me off like
what
no
are you doing,
other.
sir?
What are you
would
doing?
you Why would you do that?
Why? Yeah.
It's annoying, but it
is.
happens.
Get your ass out of here.
No,
But
this
then they're trying to make it last longer, though.
This is
For
so good.
who?
Exactly.
Get
exactly.
out of here. Why?
No,
Who
that's-
are you trying to impress? But this is a conversation in my house. Why do you need to do that? I know you. You mine. I want you forever.
I don't care about
you
none of
don't
that.
have to do that.
But here's the thing.
I'm impressed.
They're
already.
trying to prolong
Already.
their experience.
I'm glad you love me that much. But let's go to sleep.
You see, what you want to sleep. What
That's
they
the
want
love
is
language
for
thing,
this
huh?
to have for go on for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah. They're trying to extend it as long as possible because they have, and a lot of times they have that number in their heads.
The time?
They have that time in their head. They know how long they should. But see, I lose track of time. I don't keep up
For
with the time.
sure.
Women
but
are
like, yeah, but no, they have like, I should last longer than whatever time that is.
You should not.
So I'm going to pull out. I'm going to do some other things to distract and whatever. And then we'll go back in and finish this a little bit later.
I feel like it's just so good. If you a minute or less, pump me up. I'm what is that? Well, not literally one, but I'm just saying, like, if you can last for an hour, what is that saying about me? I don't know.
That's how I feel.
That's a lot of energy.
That is a lot. And I love that you brought up the topic of porn. Yeah, dinner. Yeah.
A whole meal.
A whole entire meal. But I love that you talked about porn because in probably late teens, I was definitely addicted to porn. And so going into my marriage, it was all performance based. Yeah. And I love that we're even having this conversation because I think that even though my husband wasn't addicted to porn or anything like that, he had that number in his mind. And I also had this performance thing in mind.
What it should look like, what it should be like, how my body should be, like
my boobs don't look like that when I bend over.
Right.
Hers look like that. But I think this is so good because this opens up the conversation to let off these imaginary standards that we have to keep. And
first,
I told my
gotta
husband,
recognize that they're imaginary, though.
No, that's hard.
Yeah,
because we're both
the realization that this is not real.
It's not real.
What we saw is not real
at all. I done learned about the girls being able. How much? I don't know how much we can say on this podcast.
Girl, go ahead.
This is your podcast.
The girls squirting, having things inserted inside of them to make it splash out. Like so many different. I'm like, everything is fake. And then we had a conversation one day, and I'm like, literally told my husband, I don't want long sex. Like, give me a strong, good little 10 minute session, and I'm straight. When you start going to 30.
Who are you doing this?
It's just so much freaky talk. I done called you Big Daddy, King, Man of God, Chocolate Nigerian. Like, I don't even have no more vocabulary after this certain amount of time. And any woman that I have talked to, in my experience, most women we just want to feel close. We want to feel intimate. And I think letting off this performance, you got me. Like, you don't have to impress me with even a whole bunch of positions.
Right. I don't even think it's about that. I think it is, we have to figure out what it is that they actually need. So intimacy, true intimacy is emotional closeness and physical closeness. It's both of those things together. And I'm going to speak in very general terms, right? A lot of times what we need is emotional closeness. For sure. That's our need. In order to feel loved, we need to have that emotional connectedness. For men, they need physical closeness in order to feel loved. So a lot of times that need, that skin hunger, that wanting to just be with you in a physical way is a reassurance that you love them. That's what lets them know. For us, like you said, I could take a leave after whatever amount of time, whatever you enter your own amount of time. But if you will talk to me, if we can communicate well, if you understand that I'm tired and you're like, no, sit down on the couch. I got it. Let me do this. Let me put the kids to bed. That makes us feel closer and more loved, right? So what we have to start doing is really, and it goes back to what you said about language too, we have to speak to them in their language in order for them to feel loved. So if what he needs in order to feel loved is the sex.
That's so deep.
Your message I don't necessarily need it to go long, but I do understand that what you need right now is me. And I'm going to be here for you. Now, after whatever your cutoff time is, I can't come up with nothing else. Okay.
It's over.
I got no more. Like you said, I got no more vocabulary.
Okay.
All right. There's some lube on the side of the bed. If it's dry, it's not even. It's not because I don't love you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here. Yeah. But understand that in order for me to do that, it works both ways. I have to be able to tell you because they can't read our minds.
Yeah.
We got to be able to be a big girl and tell them, like, what I need is when you come home, if you can just give me 5 minutes, so that I can go sit down, because I've been looking at their asses all day and I'm sick and tired. I want to drop kick one of them. You know? If you could just take them in the other room for me for 5 minutes, God.
Yeah.
All night long.
Then I'll feel sexy.
Yes.
Okay, for sure.
Then
Absolutely.
maybe I'll feel sexy. Do you feel pressure to like, because you mentioned it even,
Yeah.
you know, he married a sex therapist, so it's all good. Is there something that comes along with being a sex therapist? Like, do you always have to be in the mood?
No. No, I have to be me.
I know that's right.
I have to be his wife. I have to be a woman. I have to be, you know, I have to work. I have to, we the same, you know? I found someone who does not put unrealistic expectations. So if you think about, so when we met, I was working on my master's in psychology. So that was a whole other type of pressure, because when you marry someone who's a therapist, they always, or date someone that's a therapist, it's like, okay, is she psychoanalyzing me? Or is she thinking too deeply? And really, I'm lazy. I'm not really thinking about all that stuff. I'm off the clock. Like, I just want to be a human being, right? Yeah. And so the same thing as a sex therapist, I know a lot of things. I know a lot of tricks. Doesn't mean they interest me.
Oh, that's right.
But I like them. I like to know things. Yeah. I'm very curious about those things. So I can professionally tell you everything you want to know about sex, or at least know where to go get the information. I can look it up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm interested in doing those things myself. And so he is someone that if I want to branch out and be more adventurous in a certain area, or be like, listen, let's try this tonight, he's game. But it's not a situation where he feels like, oh shit, I gotta, you know, eat some Wheaties and take some vitamins and do all these things to keep up with you. No, because really I'm like you, I want to go to bed.
Night-night.
Yes.
Okay, my last statistic. And this one was a shocker for me.
You have done so much research.
I've done some research.
I'm so proud.
Because, you know, I'm tired of the people saying the Black community needs to lose its podcast mics. Let me just tell y'all.
I know. Who said that?
The people are saying that. So I brought some real facts so y'all know that this is
in 6 months, they'll have a podcast.
That part. Okay. Come on down to Elevate Studio when you are ready to record. But apparently, 15 to 20% of marriages are sexless marriages, meaning no sex in 6 months or more. I'm sorry, what? I did not know this was a thing.
I think that's correct. Not sure about the number, but there are plenty of people out here living in marriages where they have not had sex for 6 months or more. Yes, absolutely. Positively the case. Great friends, good co-parents, sometimes bad co-parents, but yes, living in the same house. Not cheating, just not having sex, for sure. 1,000%, yes.
So tell me how you feel about these reasons why, reasons for sexless marriage. Intimacy, confidence issues, spouses with differing desires, asexuality, and infidelity.
All of it. All of it. I see all of it. I've seen cross-dressing, like one person is cross-dressing and the person doesn't understand. I've seen the infidelity and we can't bounce back from it. I've seen I had a performance issue and now I just don't want to try anymore because I don't believe that this is going to work. I've seen just getting older and injury. My back, or I got sciatica, or whatever it is, you know, and this isn't, and I can't do it. There are so many people that just give up on having a sexual relationship because of incompatibility or because of we want two different things, but choose to stay in a relationship for various reasons. Maybe it's finances, maybe it's I really love and care about this person. Maybe I don't believe in divorce, or, you know, there's so many reasons, but you would be so surprised. I'm sure, you said, there are so many people living in sexless marriages that are okay with it too.
That part.
That are okay with it. There are some that are in it and are not okay. And then we have to work. And those are the ones that make it to the office, quite frankly. But there are some that are content being in that relationship.
That number is actually low to me.
You think so?
I thought it was higher.
You think more people are not having sex in their
Absolutely.
marriages?
I'm talking about close, in
people
that
know.
Yeah.
So where does asexuality come into this?
I really would like to know that.
And can you define it for the people who are unfamiliar?
So I really love for asexual folks to define how they, express their sexuality, because I'm probably going to butcher this. But it means not really, let's say not really feeling sexual in any kind of way. Like sex is not of interest to me. It's not something that I think that for the most part, the women in this room, right, we have a certain level of sexuality that we walk into. We own, right? We carry around with us. We know, like, there are things that we wear that might make us feel sexy. There are things about our bodies that we love and appreciate and know are just like,
okay.
Someone who identifies as asexual does not necessarily walk into a space with that same presentation and or feeling. And that is that's their walk. That's how they feel. And so I think that, when you fall in love with someone who does not identify as asexual and who is very much a sexual being and wants to be intimate in a physical way, it can be very challenging because you have needs and you have very basic needs that you only want your partner to fulfill. And the challenging part is you're asking your partner to do something that they are uncomfortable with and that does not meet their needs. And it's a very challenging dynamic.
Do you see that often?
I don't see that often. What I see more often than not is because if someone is asexual or they identify as asexual, they're not coming to me for a fix. They're fine with it. It's the people around them that aren't fine with it.
Yeah.
The people who want to have sex with them.
Right. They're fine. But it's like being in a relationship with someone who wants something of you that you can't give. So what I think is really, what is even more common is something that you said is having a desire discrepancy, where I am a high desire partner but my partner's desire is lower than mine. We're not at the same place. And that is super common. I would say that's more common than anything. And that's and the beauty about that is that our desire is going to change at different points in our lives.
Agreed.
So at some point, I might be the higher desire partner.
Yeah.
Where I want it all the time and my partner's desire is lower than mine. And then there are going to be shifts in our relationship where now I don't want it ever.
Please don't touch me.
Yeah. And you're tapping me on my shoulder every night.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that lower desire does not mean I have low sex desire. It's just lower than my partner's.
Okay.
But that could definitely cause some stress.
It definitely does. It definitely does. But what we have to do, so I like to use this kind of analogy, and this is great that you have a visual component to your podcast, right? So if you think about this line here being normal, right? And somebody in the relationship has a desire that is way up here. My desire is still normal. And yours is high. But to this person up here, it's going to feel like mine is low. Right? And it's really unreasonable to ask, let me pull these back down. If we're both normal and this person is low, like truly low sex desire, like I never think about it, never want to have it, it's not of interest to me, I don't even want my desire to be any higher, low, right? It's just as unreasonable for me to ask this person here to come all the way down to here. Think about that.
To not have sex anymore.
Right. That's unreasonable, right? What we want to do is ask both of you to move a little bit and create kind of a new normal for your relationship. Understanding that sometimes I'm not necessarily going to want to do it, but I understand that in order for you to feel loved, I got to come up a little bit. And I also have to understand that every time I want to have sex, you're not going to want to.
Yeah.
And I just need to go in the bathroom and jack off. Or whatever it is you do, There are going to be times when we have to meet somewhere in the middle, and I'm not going to always be able to come up here, and I can't expect you to come down here.
That part.
Yeah.
It's reasonable for you to be exactly where you are.
Speaking of coming to a place of compromising, so if your husband is high, you're low, is there any practical things that you can share that could enhance lifestyle changes, habits, any gems you can drop to us that could help assist?
much. We've gone through so much. I think having honest conversations about what you want and don't want is key, right? And being upfront about that, trying to get the embarrassing stuff out of the way. It's a weird like homework exercise, but I love telling people to come up with these always, sometimes, and never lists. Like always, let's create a list of things that we're always going to do.
Yeah.
Like oral sex is never going to be a problem. I'm never going to say no to that. I'm always going to do it. Sometimes
Is this real?
Yeah, I'm like,
for you,
no.
your life?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, do
Is that your rule?
Yeah, you're like,
No,
I'm
I don't have those rules.
Okay,
I don't have those rules. I'm just throwing things out.
That is.
I will never say no to giving you.
To giving you head, I would never
Works
say.
both ways.
I mean, I feel like your husband's never gonna say no, right?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your husband's never gonna say no. But
No.
That's bomb.
that is
No.
great
No.
for y'all.
I mean, it happens. I mean, it's automatic. So,
I know that's right.
So, but then there are going to be some things like I'm trying to think of something like I'm not into anal sex, but I know you like it. So sometimes, right, on your birthday
This is
or
heavy, ma'am.
on,
This is heavy, ma'am.
but not on a school. I can say that can happen sometimes. This is not my personal list.
I got you.
I'm just saying. I'm throwing things out there, right? But then there are going to be some things that are non-negotiable. Like you will never tie me up, or I'm never going to, whatever it is your kink is or turn you on or something you like. Like I'm never going to let you put your finger in my ass and then put it in my vagina. Like that's not going to happen, right?
Let's draw the line there.
Wow.
Okay?
I mean, you asked for a line earlier. There it is.
Thank you. There it is. Thank you. There is a line. Okay.
Right.
There it is.
Wow.
So I think coming up with these always, sometimes, and never lists are great to do up front. Like we don't need to be in the
Always,
bed
sometimes,
talking about
never.
this. This can happen at the
Wait,
kitchen
say that
table.
again.
We don't need to be in the bed talking about this. Always, sometimes, and never.
Okay.
So these are things that are you don't never have to ask. I'm always going to do it. Like we're always 69. Yes. Every single time. I don't care.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it. Sometimes
I felt like that was real.
I felt that too. That was giving transparency.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Perhaps it is. Perhaps it's not. We've been together a long time.
Long time.
I know that's right.
But then, there are going to be things that are just like, it's not necessarily my thing, but I know it gets you off and you really love it. So, babes, you know what? Tonight, I'm going to do that.
Wow. I don't feel like a lot, well, in my experience, I don't feel like a lot of women are like that. Like if they don't want to do it, it's just hell no. It's not like
You got to find your things. There are some middle grounds. I don't think that we talk about it enough
That
to
is
figure out
true.
what those middle grounds are. We do draw those lines in the sand, say, I'm not doing that, or no problem.
Yeah.
But I think there is some wiggle room. I do. I feel like there is for many, if we would have those conversations.
What you thinking about,
I
Cole?
know, right? Yeah, I could tell I was thinking about something.
What?
Because
Middle
we
lady.
have literally just, not you and I, me and my husband have been having this conversation. Y'all seen the clip with Kevin Gates spitting in
Which
that
one?
lady's stage? I mean, spitting in that lady's mouth.
I
on
heard
stage.
about it. I didn't watch the clip.
I got to draw a line there. And this was the thing I sent to my husband, like, yo,
Don't you ever in your life.
this is on the other side for me. Again, no judgment, do what y'all want to do.
Yeah.
But that to me is like,
Yeah.
there's a line between freaky and nasty, and that's on the nasty
yeah,
side for
yeah,
me.
yeah, sure.
That what made me think. I mean, you made me
Never?
think of that with your
Yes.
always, sometimes, never. Because
Yes,
that's
that's
in my
good.
never. Pile.
And that's perfectly fine. And I hope that he knows that before he attempts
said
to do that.
that part. Yeah.
That's why we got to talk. Well, you can't wait and have these conversations
After it's done.
after it's done or in the midst of or right before. Don't have these conversations in the bed. These should be things when y'all are taking that long drive somewhere, start having those conversations.
when
Like,
the pressure isn't on to
That's
do
so
it in the
good.
moment.
Right.
I need to
right,
I think I'm gonna
You need to
revisit
think
this
that.
comp.
You gonna revisit it?
Yeah.
like
For
it
sure.
could be, and it could be even like going back to what you said about porn. And I don't know where you are in your journey.
0.
But okay, great. So it could be like, that might be a never for you.
Yeah.
Like I'm never, like, do not introduce that. I can't do that. I don't want to go there again. That could be on your never list. It also might be, I'm not putting this on you, it could be on your sometimes list. Like if,
anniversary.
yeah, maybe. Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You guys have to figure out what works for you.
So knowing that there are so many different desires,
Sure.
and obviously we're two different people coming into this relationship.
Yes.
Everything is different about us for the most part.
For including what you said earlier, that you're coming into the relationship with like your parents, grandparents, great grandparents, all the stuff, all the values, everything that they've instilled in you, the church
that you might not even understand.
Right. All
and don't
in
agree
your
with
ear.
either.
Right. All in your ear.
Yeah.
Everything is coming in. Everything you learned and didn't learn. Things your friends have told you that you assumed were real, but wasn't. Things you watched on TV and porn, all that kind of stuff. Yes, I'm sorry.
No. That's
No,
good.
that's great. All of it's coming in with you.
So getting out of your head is a real thing. That was advice I got from a therapist a long time ago. I am a very much so in my head type of person. So as a wife,
serves you well.
It does in some areas. In a lot of areas, it serves me well. In other areas, like being, what's the word? My inhibitions.
Yes.
You know, just being free.
Yeah.
I've never had the wild party night where I'm just like, ooh, woke up the next day like
Don't
hangover.
remember.
I'm not that girl.
Do you want to have that?
I would like to have a wild, with my husband, I would like to have a wild night.
Okay.
So for women like me who are in their head too much, what advice do you have? Because wifey trying to keep it spicy.
Sure.
I don't want to be a prude. And I've married this man at this point. You know, I can do the crazy stuff now.
Yeah, you
How do I
can.
do it?
That's such a good question.
You can. So what you're asking is something that I think a lot of women struggle with, and that is kind of just letting go. Part of it comes with time, and letting go is a choice. It is a distinct choice that we make to turn that part of ourselves off that is cautious, that is the overthinker, that is methodical, and that like caution to. And why I say it serves you well, because it absolutely does, right? It's gotten you very far in your life. I wonder though if the overthinking maybe in the past has how it served you in relationships.
Or disserved
you. Right. And so you finally are matched and partnered with someone where you have to get comfortable with the I don't have to always be ... whatever that thing is that you feel like you always had to be previously, or maybe have to be at work, or maybe have to be when you go meet with your kid's teacher, or you have to be in social settings. You don't have to be that person with him. You could turn that on and off if you want to, and you have the power to turn that off and just be as free as you will allow yourself to be. You have to give yourself permission to be that person in those moments.
I think I have to give myself drugs to be that person.
You don't.
Alcohol.
I mean, they'll help.
Okay.
I mean, but you don't have to. You can give yourself permission. I think getting in touch with what you're really scared of. And
she's about to turn this into a real therapy session. Don't do that, Dr. Tiffany.
And you invited me here. Ma'am, you invited me here.
I did. Go ahead, therapy's me.
But no, you just have to get in touch with what it is you really want. Give yourself permission to be and do that. Know that you are safe. You trust him, right? He's not going to let anything happen to you. If you get completely out of pocket, he's the person you want to be with when you're doing that, right? And he's going to take care of you. I know. I just met him, right? I sized him up already. I know that if you get too loose, he is going to be straight as an arrow. He is going to take care of the entire situation and hold it down. You can get as crazy as you want to. He got you. You got to know that.
Thank you.
Not me wanting to cry.
You got to know that.
Not even about me.
So now you can do whatever you want. That man got you. He does.
Period. I love this.
Right?
Hanging from the lampshade tonight.
All right. You better.
I'm going to report back.
Please.
I'm really not. I'm going to be sleepy when I get home. But I will do it one day. Maybe later this week.
I mean, plan it out.
Yes.
Plan it out and just be like, you know what? What's your alter ego name? What is?
Girl, I need one.
Me too.
Because, we need to come up with something. Wifey got to keep it spicy.
What's your middle name?
It's not.
Oh, definitely mine.
No.
What is it? Mildred? What is it?
It's Larissa. That's
fantastic.
I'm sorry?
That is fantastic. Larissa.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that sound
So
freaky to
Larissa's
you?
coming
Yes.
home tonight.
No, she's going to be there this weekend. Tonight,
this
she's
tonight.
sleeping. Yeah,
She's
no,
not coming
Larissa's
tonight.
not coming tonight.
Okay.
But no, Larissa, just let her come. She can be whoever you want her to be.
Okay.
Okay? And she's already in you. She's there. Allow her to be your Sasha Fierce. Allow her to be that person that you know. I mean, if you want to change her name, you can, but she's already there, honey. She's there.
She's
and
in
she's
there.
ready to work.
Come on, ready to work. Okay.
She's ready to work.
Okay.
So let her do what she do.
I want to ask a question because I feel like this is something that's pretty popular with men feeling like I had her hanging on the chandeliers, just doing the do when we were dating. And now that we're married, it's giving dry. It's giving boring. She don't know how to ride no more. It's just missionary and from the back. What is something that you can speak to the men in explanation? And have you seen that where men are complaining like, she was all of this when she was trying to get me, and now it's like, here.
I think we have to look at both sides of it, honestly, because there are things that men do as well in dating that they stop doing.
Talk about it.
After marriage, right? I think growth is, as we grow, we change. I am not the same person that I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would like to think I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago.
For sure.
I've grown. I've changed. I have more responsibilities. I have more bills. I have other things on my mind. What tends to happen is we go into relationship and go into marriage thinking that that we're going to remain that same person for the rest of our lives and do those same things. Like, my knees don't allow me to do the things I was doing when I was, you know what I mean?
For sure.
My body won't let me do those things.
When I think about the things I did, I'm like, I was up there that
How?
long.
Right.
That's crazy. I wish.
How?
And get a quarter of that
And
time.
so I think the expectation is unrealistic. I also think it's unfair because I think we change as we age. We have different things on our minds, different things weighing on us, different responsibilities. I also think that there is a mindset of, I think we have a fairy tale. A lot of us have a fairy tale, men and women, of what marriage will do. That after this piece of paper is signed, things are going to be ... whatever kind of way, whatever you have in your head, right?
sure.
And the reality is that is a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And the marriage is not simply about our sexual relationship. Now I'm freaking tied to you. Like you're part of my responsibility.
For sure.
There's a lot of pressure. We're building things together.
Yeah.
So my mind isn't necessarily on, let me get this man. I got this man. Right? Or I got this woman. So now I'm focused on the next thing that we're building. Maybe it's kids. Maybe it's getting a house. Maybe it's getting out of debt. Maybe it's going up a corporate ladder. Maybe it's, building brands and things like that. Like we're thinking about a lot of different things. And I don't think our minds, especially as women, our minds aren't as hyper-focused on sex. I think the mistake, I'm sorry, in your example is, in that way of thinking, is these are the things that I have to do in order to get this person. Right? So when you hear that from someone, they're thinking, I have to do all of these things in order to get this person to marry me or to get this person to be in a relationship with me. Yeah. But that's not sustainable. My advice would be, whatever you're doing now, can you keep up with that? Because it's got to be in here. It's got to be genuine. And if you're a high drive person and that's just how you roll, then yes, that will continue. But for a lot of us, it is not sustainable.
For sure.
Especially when you have kids.
Yeah. Like how?
How?
Kids,
I didn't have
businesses.
nothing to do before.
For
now
sure.
I have everything to
Right.
do.
And the
That's big.
expectation of your partner has to change. And it should, especially if he or she is truly your partner and in these trenches with you.
All of our responsibilities are changing.
Right.
Not just mine.
Because you should be as tired as I am.
Okay. Okay.
You should be as tired as I am.
But on next week's episode, you are not tired at the end of the day,
What about
sir.
that?
something is wrong with
the math
us.
ain't mathing.
For
Yeah,
sure.
something
Something's wrong with
something ain't
us.
working over
because
here.
we both should be equally as involved, invested, tired, strung out, whatever. Because this is our responsibility. It's going to feel and look different on both parts because we're two different people, and our responsibilities are our level of expertise in these areas are going to be different. There are some things that you're going to take charge in because you just know it off, like you just do that. And there are other things that he's going to take a lead in and worry about, but you should both be putting in the same amount of energy into those things. Yeah.
So if he is putting in a lot of energy into someone else with his cheating ass, and you decide to take him back, because this happens, right? Real life, this happens. We know the statistics. I don't have the stats on that, but we've heard all the statistics.
Sure.
What is your advice for intimacy for a wife who decides to stay after infidelity?
I'm just going to change your question a little bit and just say the person that decides to stay.
That was a real biased way I asked that question. I was assuming the man was a cheater. I did. You're right. I did.
And I say that just because I've seen both, where the female partner has cheated and the male partner has cheated. If it's a heterosexual relationship, it may not be. And I like to refer to it as the person who was unfaithful and the person who was hurt.
Okay.
Because those are two different places that we're coming from. So I'll give you a statistic since you don't have one on this.
Okay.
It takes about 2 years to get past an affair.
Like to get over it fully?
To move past it, yeah. I don't know that you're ever really over it. It's always, it gets smaller and smaller and further back in your mind. But it does, you don't forget it, you know? But it does take 2 years, at least about 2 years roughly, to move past it. The challenge is the unfaithful partner wants that 2 years to move very quickly. They want you, like I've said, I'm sorry, what else do you want me to do? I'm here, what else do you want me to do? I'm not seeing her anymore. What do you want me to do, right? And they want you to move very fast and very quickly through your grieving process of this old relationship and how these things went, and they want you to forgive and let's move on. The hurt partner, though, also has to, and this is a little challenging. We have to think about, as the hurt partner, what did I do or not do that made being unfaithful a viable option? That's a hard one. And I'm not saying you want to blame the victim, okay? I'm not saying we're victim blaming here, or that the person who was cheated on is responsible for that. The person that stepped out in the relationship is the one that's responsible for the action that they did. What I am saying is we have to look. I really always like to look at, okay, how could I have done things differently? And it may be that I couldn't have done anything. I'm perfect, right? I'd like to think that. But we also have to think, is there something that I'm doing or not doing that made this a more attractive option? I can take some responsibility for some things. Perhaps every time you walk in the door, I say very negative things to you. I don't support you. I flirt with my coworkers, but I've never crossed that line. Or I talk down to you. I never want to have sex. Like there may be things that I'm doing that make you feel like I don't like this. And I just thought that cheating was a great option, and it clearly was not, So I think that we have to think about affairs and the recovery from an affair in more of a longer process, that it takes people time to figure out their roles, whether you're the hurt person or the unfaithful person. You got to figure out how you got there. Both people have to figure out how they individually got there, and then do the work. In couples work, I oftentimes will have the couple as a client and then encourage them both to do some individual therapy, because there is so much that we can learn about ourselves in an affair. And sometimes doing that individual work can make the couple stronger, because you start to understand, okay, here's something about myself that I recognize. I never I never was vulnerable enough with you. I never let you in. I never acted as though I even needed you in this relationship. And so you felt validated outside of the relationship when really I need to work a little bit more on making sure that you feel loved, appreciated, needed in this household. I wasn't doing that. So I'm not saying you should have cheated or that I understand why you did, but I do know I could have probably been a better support for you.
Wow.
Now that's some grown woman-ish right there.
Super grown.
Grown.
Super duper grown.
But that takes a lot of work. And this is why it's not going to be over. Like, they want you to forgive them real quick.
Immediately.
Like, I said, I'm sorry.
So
like,
the
what else?
first,
You know?
I have, thankfully, I mean, I got cheated on in college, but that don't count. So I've never been in a real adult, relationship and gone through something like this. But I can just imagine if I decide to stay, the first time we have sex again, what I can just imagine what that would be like.
Many things.
I'm thinking, and I'm already in my head person,
Yeah.
so I can just imagine how tough that would be.
Gosh,
It's tough to even get to the point of having that
That's what
first
I
sexual
imagine.
experience, right? And then you're thinking, okay, especially if there's so many layers to this, right? Because what if their quote unquote reason, right? The reason that they tell you that they had the affair is because, well, our sex isn't great. Now I'm thinking about, my performance. Now I got performance anxiety. Now I'm thinking, what should I do? What did she do?
That part.
Why did you like this person as opposed, like, how do I compare? Like, what do I do? Again, this is why the individual component of therapy
So they
is
need
so
therapy
important.
as the answer. Y'all need to take yourselves down to therapy.
I would love to see them on somebody's couch.
I know that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough to get yourself out of that.
Now, here's the thing about couples therapy and repair work after an affair. You got to make sure that both people want the same thing. Because a lot of people come into therapy think with one person foot out the door, like, I'm just doing this because this person wants to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm already out.
Is there a majority of the time who that person is?
What do you mean?
Who usually wants to do the work? The unfaithful person or the hurt person?
I don't think there's a majority.
Okay.
Like, sometimes I would say probably if the unfaithful person wants to save the primary relationship, then yeah, they're like really pushing. We can go to therapy.
that
But
makes
what happens a lot of times is the hurt person had been asking them to go prior to getting caught. Right? I've been trying to get this person in. They would never come. They say, we don't need it. We have the tools. I'm not interested. This is not, I don't want to. Then once they get caught and I'm threatening to leave, oh yeah, let's go to
Now
therapy.
we'll go to, it's got to be
No, we're not going to use therapy that way. That's not what it's for.
I want to dig a little deeper.
Because then it's manipulation.
Yes.
that part.
Agree.
Yes.
I want to dig a little deeper on a little spicier tip.
Yes.
Do you feel like there is a such thing as intimacy getting boring? And do you feel like it should be encouraged to try new things? Do you think it should be encouraged to get a new toy, try an edible, try a new position?
I don't think there's anything wrong with any of that.
Yeah.
I feel like everything you just said is like fair game if both individuals want to do that, if they're open to doing that, right? And then we go back to the sometimes, always, and never. We might have to make a whole new list for that, right? Maybe there's some things that, like, I've never tried an edible having sex, or I've never even tried edibles, period. How about we try them one night and just see how that part goes?
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll see if we can add sex into it. Because if I've never had it before, I don't know how my body's even going to respond to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, there are some things, I've had conversations with women that they didn't even know they liked a certain kink
until they tried it.
Until we just tried it. It's like, oh my gosh, I love being chained up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's like, well, if we would have never explored, and the reason why I asked this is that I feel like, so me and my husband, we have a marriage ministry. We have talked to so many different married couples. And a lot of times the men are complaining that the women are doing the same thing, or they're lazy, or, they nothing has changed. And so I'm interested to see, like, do we think that some things can stay the same? Or as we get older, if we want a long-lasting marriage, should it be like, no, we need to pull out the horse tonight?
A horse?
I don't know.
Is that a real thing?
I have no idea.
It
I just
can be.
looked it
It's
up.
about to be.
Right.
It's about to be.
Just like
No.
trying new things. Or do you feel like...
It really depends on your partner, right? I don't think I do not think there's anything wrong with anything that you just said. And I think that we have to, if there are things that we're interested in doing, we have to be able to share that with our partner. I think the problem is historically in our relationships, we haven't been able to have those types of conversations about sexual exploration, about the things that have interested us, that we're interested in, about the things we've always wanted to try, but never had that person that we felt free enough to try it with.
Yeah.
So we have to start having those conversations early. I think the challenge usually is that now you're springing it on me.
Ooh,
you want me to go from doing nothing or a missionary position to a horse.
Right.
And I don't even know, and we ain't even talked about nothing in between. Can we build up to that? Like, you're just springing this on me because, like, you're sexually frustrated, which I get.
Yeah.
But how about we, again, have this conversation outside of the bedroom?
For sure.
You know, not during intimate time.
Yeah.
Where we can talk about these things like, okay, you're interested in, okay, how about this? How about I've never introduced a sex toy. How about we go to the sex shop together on a date night? And we'll pick out something together. Or maybe I'll pick out something and you pick out something. And then we'll come home and figure out how we're going to use these things.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many different ways to incorporate it. I think sometimes we surprise someone with something. Like, you can't just whip out your, 18
your anal beads.
Right. Yeah, your 18-inch card and be like, let's do this.
18, wow.
How?
I'm
like,
Googling
is our
so many
canal that
things.
long?
No
No,
way.
it's 4 inches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait,
So are we're stretching it out of...
what's happening? Oh,
How does
The
it go?
barrel of the vagina is only about 4 to 5 inches long. Yes.
barrel of the vagina?
Yeah. So if anyone is like, they're 12 inches, like,
They're a liar.
I can do something with about half of that, but the other half that's all you.
What's the average size?
Of a penis? That I don't know. That's a great question because the size changes,
As you get older?
Yes, but no, when it's flaccid and then when it's hard. So, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, y'all, this is a little...
I have to go read my
real
textbook
spicy.
on that one.
Yeah, I would
I
love to know
forgot
that.
number.
Come on, I would
I'll
love to know
email
that.
you.
Please do.
I'll let you know.
I would love to know
Okay, I
that.
have one last question before we... And this is not on the paper. But before we get to our game, from a sex therapist,
Yes.
what is your advice on threesomes for married couples? I have not had a threesome. I feel like I should put that disclaimer out there because my mom or somebody might watch this. But go ahead.
I think that, again, you got to know, okay, threesomes, open marriages, that kind of thing, polyamory, whatever. You really have to know yourself. And you got to be honest with yourself about what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot tolerate, what you can and cannot put up with. I know for me, I don't share. I want to focus on one person, and I want that one person to focus on me. So I know that I am not cut out for that life, okay? I also know that I'm not going to be good watching or giving permission for my partner to do anything with anybody else but me. But that's me. I think too often people find out or they're introduced to threesomes or open marriages, open relationships by a partner who wants to explore that, or that's something that they're used to and that they've always done and that's their thing. And a partner will go along with it in order to either please, keep, maintain, whatever, that relationship. And if you can't handle it, you got to be honest about it. And you have to let it go because it will do nothing but break your heart. I have had so many couples come in where, again, there's this desire discrepancy where one person is very much gung-ho. The other one might have agreed to it at some point and said, yeah, I'm open to trying it or I'm willing to do it. And then they realize that they can't, that it's too much and that and then they don't know how to get out of it.
They come to you?
Because, they don't know how to get out of it because it's like, I did agree to this, but I don't like it. And the other person is in very deep and it's just like, I am loving this.
Right, paradise.
And you were okay with it. You gave permission for it, so I'm good.
Yeah.
It's a very, very tricky type of relationship, and it is not for everybody. And I'm not saying don't try it, but be very honest with yourself about what you can tolerate and what you absolutely know that you cannot. And if you are the jealous type, it is not for you.
Okay, not for
I
me.
have so many directions I want to go in that.
What you want to say, girl?
So, one, I am with you. I first of all, my faith and my belief, I believe that man and woman are made to be two people in a marriage. But when I hear this movement of threesomes and the poly or whatever and all of that, something that you said that I have not experienced, but have been around people that have experienced is he was into that or she was into that. And so he's a great man. Like there was someone that I know who never was in a poly relationship, but she was like, there's really not too many great men left. And if this is his requirement, I'll be okay with that. And so,
but are you really okay with it? Like,
of course not.
Yeah.
And my point that I'm making is I haven't met too many, let me say this to be very clear. I haven't met any women that have had threesomes, that have been in poly relationships, that was doing that before, that was really into it. It was something that was typically introduced by the man. It's like, well, he's a good man. And I'm going to leave this because he just want to, what can this really hurt? And so it's been interesting learning that women are doing it more and more. But as I talk to them, they're really
not necessarily happy.
don't want to do it. And so there's this thing where I'm like, are we lying to ourselves?
What gets me though is what the person that allows you or wants you to do something that you're not comfortable doing. That really is pushing and going so hard for you to be committed to something that is tearing you up inside.
Yeah.
You know? Because that doesn't feel like love to me.
Yeah.
And if
It
they
really
can't read
doesn't.
the room,
Yeah.
what kind of relationship is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen the other side. I don't know if y'all saw the Brother Husbands, the show, where it's the one wife with multiple husbands.
Oh no.
And all of y'all gotta look them up. It's on TLC. Check it out. It is mind blowing. But on that show, it's the opposite. So all of the wives, it's like 3 or 4 couples, but all of the wives were basically cheating on the husbands. And then the husband didn't want to leave the wife, so they just decided to open up their marriage. And that's how they ended up being poly. But I have not seen a couple where we were both into this, we both decided to do it.
Yeah.
They might say that, but if you dig a little bit deeper, it's always like, well, one has started to step out, or well, one was starting to feel some type of way. And in order for us to keep this together,
And based on my professional opinion, right? It never fixes the relationship. Introducing somebody else into your relationship is never going to fix the primary relationship. It does. So that's game right there.
Please.
That is
very
game.
much so.
If your person says, I think we need to have an open relationship because that will solve our issue.
Yeah.
It won't. It absolutely
he playing in
will
your
not.
face, or he or she. I need to stop.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
that. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Only
He or
men
she
cheat according
is
to
playing.
God.
Yeah. Black men don't cheat. That's the thing,
Yeah.
right? Okay, it's game time, guys.
All right. Ooh.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ooh.
So,
fun.
Dr.
No, you
Tiffany.
get one. Oh, I
No,
get
you get
one?
one.
Oh,
Yes.
it's
It's-
yep. Okay. Oh.
We're playing
Okay.
Have Fun
Have fun
or
or
Run. We don't have any sound effects, so that's why I had to
Okay,
do that.
great. In
So-
post, you can fix that in
Exactly, right?
post. There you
So
go.
I'm going to read a statement. This is for my single ladies out there who are interested in becoming wives, right?
okay.
So put yourself in this position. We aunties right now, okay?
Oh.
Big sis.
Oh, I didn't
You
realize.
big sis.
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
you not
I'm
auntie.
not
You
auntie
big
yet.
sis. But they come to you and they're like, yo, I am dealing with the man who, and then we're giving them advice.
Got it.
Have fun or run. Okay.
Got it. I love it.
So, auntie, I'm dating this man. He doesn't want to take me to his best friend's wedding because it's out of town and he doesn't feel comfortable yet. Should I run or have fun?
That's so vague.
It's very vague.
It is because you don't know how long
How
they've been
long?
dating.
That's my first question.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
how long y'all are. Yeah, I don't know how long y'all have been dating. I think that it's fine. Like if y'all have been together for 3-4 years, then problemo.
For sure.
But if it's been 6 months, like he don't know you that well, and you don't know him that well, and like have fun with your girlfriends that weekend and
Relax.
make him miss you.
For sure.
Let him know that you're having fun that weekend while he's gone. And yeah.
Family is a big
have
deal.
fun. Yeah, it
like
is.
meeting to me, because I know some people, they done met 10 girlfriends and boyfriends. My family met 2 people, and the first one was a mistake. So we take meeting family. We work out or not, mama gonna be mama, daddy gonna be daddy, boyfriend.
Right.
I mean, not boyfriend, but best friend is gonna be best friend. I'm not introducing to no little floozy.
So depending on how long they've been dating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, so I'm dating somebody, but they think marriage is unnecessary because you don't need the government all up in your business.
Oh, okay.
Run or have fun.
I know I'm like half.
I would say run.
Okay.
And I'm saying run because you guys don't want the same thing.
Okay.
Yes.
So you want to be married. This person is telling you that they do not. And so you kind of need to not be there.
This is the same thing as far as poly and threesomes and everything. Like,
It's hard.
we're forcing,
It's hard.
but like we're literally
Yeah.
forcing. I'm forcing you to be faithful
And
to
it
me.
doesn't work.
It
Well,
never
works.
So in
Yes.
this case,
If marriage is your requirement, if you're bendy on that, then
what if it
force
was
the goal.
So what
Exactly.
if it is a let me not misquote any religions because y'all will cancel me for that. But there are some religions, right, that do not require government
To be
paperwork to be married. So if you are of a faith that has a spiritual marriage or something like
Ceremony.
that, does that change y'all's answer?
But does he want to even do that?
Yeah, so he just doesn't want the government in their
Paper.
business. He doesn't not want to be with you. It's not that he's
So
not
it's
committed
Oprah
to
and
you.
Stedman. Like,
It's Oprah and Stedman. Y'all can be together
just wanna
forever. He
be-
just don't want the government in his business. I'm going to say have fun, niece. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say have fun only because this is an actual conversation that me and my husband had. And we definitely wanted to get married. We were both like, but do we, we're a little conspiracy theorists a little bit. But we were on the same page with that.
right.
So
and see, that's the thing, though. Y'all
Same
were
page.
on the same page.
Same page.
Y'all
but
were on the same
we
page.
both did get off that page.
I did. So
Yeah.
this makes me want to.
If you're on
my
the same
mind,
page, I'm fine with it. It's when
Trying to force somebody.
Yeah, because what happens is we tend to think like it's like I can get you to come over to my side, and you can't. The person has to go willingly. They have to go when they want to go. And if he ain't want to go, then just
Can't
let him
drag
go. Let him go.
I just have so many questions because I feel like there's some things like if you're my business partner, we got to be in a contract for a building that we both like. We won't double or second guess that. It's like
Right.
I got to get this money.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a family I'm going to raise with you, children that I'm going to push out of my vagina for you and put my life on the line, that's when it's like, ooh, government. And it's like, well, the government was involved when you got the building. The government was involved when you talked to your lawyer about the products that you have with the other business. And now it's all of a sudden this big government thing. And for some people, I get it, but there's always something that I want to ask, like, what pain point did you have that made you feel a way about that? Even when it comes to, okay, off topic. Even when it comes to a God conversation or a specific religion conversation, and people are like ready to bash something that's like, tell me your pain point in that. Why are we thinking that way about that? Because we can, if I look at your other life, you're doing certain practices that are spiritual. You're doing certain things that are government paper involved.
It's like a who hurt you type of thing.
Yeah.
I just want to ask that sometimes because it's like, now, especially if
There's
it's
a
a man.
reason why the line is there.
Yeah.
There's
What
a
made you
reason
come
For
up
sure.
with this?
It's the same thing as like why a man won't post his woman, but he'll post his new car. Oh, I don't like the people in my business with my relate. But when you bought that new house, you was ready to show that off.
Right.
When you bought the new car, you was ready to show that off. Am I enough of a prized possession that you can't do that for me too?
Perhaps not.
Exactly.
Perhaps
Deep,
not.
deep run on that one. Okay, so I'm dating somebody. Ooh, I already know y'all answer. He wants to try an open relationship because he thinks we both need more freedom.
Are you kidding?
I'm sorry, I should have skipped
wish.
that one.
I
Okay.
wish.
All right.
No, girl.
Last but not least, he isn't interested in living together until you are engaged.
What? I think that's a phenomenal idea. Please don't move in. She's like, I'm proud to be different.
If I had listen, I am so pro shacking.
Oh wait, I think I gave the wrong answer.
I'm fine with. No, I said have fun. I mean,
Wait,
no.
what did I say?
What? Read the question
what's the
again.
question?
Oh yeah. Okay. He isn't interested. He does not want to live together until y'all are engaged.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
you said the right
I
thing.
think I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it either
Is that
way.
my
Like
answer?
if
You
he
don't think y'all should live together, is what you're
Right.
saying.
Okay. Boom. Yes. I'm sorry.
Right. That's what you're saying too.
Yeah, I'm just thinking through why I'm feeling that way because I'm fine if they decided. Here's the thing: you've got two different people who have different views on this thing, right? She wants to. I'm assuming she wants to move in prior to getting engaged. He's saying, "I want to wait until we're engaged to live together." I think that is fine. If they wanted to do it beforehand, I would think that was fine too. I think there is something to living apart and getting to know yourself and having your own space and your own things. I also think that there is benefit in living together prior to marriage because you learn so much about a person prior. So I think if that's where the line is, then fine. I know at some point before we get married, we're going to be living together. And if it takes us knowing that we're actually in the process of building something, because great, I'm glad that we're living together once we decide to get married because we need to cut down on some of these expenses because our wedding might be fire and I might need the extra cash, you know? So perhaps we need to combine forces at that point, and I'm fine with that. I don't see anything wrong with it, but I also don't see anything wrong with what you're saying. Like, yeah, like. But here's the thing. Why does he not want to live together?
Because he hiding stuff and he wants you to have that ring on your finger so it's too late.
And
so you can't leave.
That is why you feel that way.
You say I'm scarred. Who hurt me?
Yeah.
This was my situation. Yeah. And if I had not moved in with it, if we had not lived together, I would not have known what I needed to know to get out of that relationship.
Oh, I never would have thought of that. Yeah. Like, that's making me change. Okay, no.
Yeah, that's the why. It's the why. It's the why.
The why is a big...
You got to know the why. Because if it's just a blanket, like, I just want us to, have our own thing, like, it could be like, maybe I've had roommates all my life and I've never lived alone. And I just want the next 6 months, a year to, like, finally be on my own, get accustomed to paying my own bills and not having to split with someone, to know that I got it, to not even worry. I just want to walk around my house naked.
Yeah.
I want to live by myself. Because who says, like, what if this is flip-flopped? And it was a female that said, until a ring is on my finger, I don't want to live with anybody because I want to be in my own space. Like, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But the why is important. Like, if it's because you got something to hide or you running a whole bunch of other chicks through there, then we got problems. And us not living together isn't the problem. It's the fact that you're doing something that I don't need you to be doing if we're trying to build
you think
something.
I'm not going to find out about?
Yeah.
So you're changing your answer?
No, I was...
It's a complicated answer.
It's complicated. It makes me think about certain things in my marriage that... So me and my husband did shack up, for sure. We definitely lived together before we got married. And I sometimes I think that we have an opportunity to run from stuff that's not runnable when we're exposed to certain things. So for instance, let's say, we're living with a guy and he's, I don't know, just ultra messy or something. And it really ticks you off. And so you leave. You leave the relationship because y'all did move in. And then you look back and be like, that wasn't
as bad.
a good reason to leave. And so sometimes I think that it can harm the relationship to be exposed to things because when you're dating, I mean, I know everybody don't believe this because people think you can get married and leave. We don't believe in divorce unless you beat me up or cheat or whatever. But I think that it kind of sets up a system of people that are runners. In some cases, yes, things are exposed and you needed to see that. In some other cases, women have left good men have left good women because, she don't cook as much. She don't, and it's like you didn't even learn how to have conversations. You didn't learn how you date, in my opinion, is how you marry. So if you run, and you look back and you're like, dang, that was a good man. He just didn't put his socks in the basket. Was that enough for me to leave the relationship? So it's... Yeah. And then, okay, another reason is I think you shouldn't move in is I think dating should be dating. I think that we should go on a date and go home.
Agree.
I think that we should go out, have a
You're
blast.
like together. We should go home.
I'm with you though. That's all. It's something about being able to go in your house, lock the door, and be on your own. Like you can literally, and not to say that you know everything about somebody when you live with them, but there's just a certain level of intimacy in the day-to-day that you can't
You don't know until you live with them. Yeah.
enough about just a random thing that's going to happen when you wake up tomorrow morning.
It's the experience.
Me seeing how you deal with the entire day, because you can put on a good mood and have a good spirit, a good attitude
when
for
you
this
with me.
hour that we're on this date.
Yeah.
But when your mama pissed you off, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like when you had a rough day at work, how are you handling it when you walk through the door versus I see you 2 days later and you've cooled off? Like I want to be able to see you.
Yeah.
I want to see all of you before I sign up.
I do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and really commit to that thing.
So you don't feel like you can see all of a man unless you live with him?
Again, I'm speaking from a scarred PTSD position that in my situation, if I had not lived with him, I would not have. He was good at hiding and another situation. God delivered me.
Sure.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because I just wonder for some women, like how many times do they have to do that?
Well, now habitual shackers. I don't know about that.
Like
that might be a thing.
That got to be draining to practice being a wife so many times.
But is that what you felt like you were doing?
No, not in your situation. But let's say it happened again. Let's say you met somebody again and you're like, let's move in, and then it didn't work again. And then again. Because I do know women that have absolutely lived with like 6 men.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's got to be.
A limit?
Well, it's a time. We would have to be dating for a minute. For me.
Okay.
I don't think you should just be moving in with everybody. So,
Like the intention would have to be that something is leading.
that part.
Yeah.
The intention is marriage, but we're not engaged yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, the intention is there. So you are kind of playing marriage.
So last question. Is there a certain time that you're like, it's been a year, let's do it. It's been 6 months.
I don't have the time. I don't have a time. I don't think like short relationships really do make me nervous. Not personally, but like when I see someone where a relationship is moving very, very quickly, like we met each other and then 2 weeks later we're moving in together, and like that's absurd to me. I do believe, I've heard this before, and I do believe that like seeing someone, and you kind of hinted to that in a minute ago, seeing someone in every season. Like being with someone for a full year, seeing how they deal with stress, how they deal with work, how they deal with grief and loss, how they deal with, I don't know, with arguments, how they deal with, like you need to see all the sides of a person before you can commit to like, this is mine, this is my person, and I want to be with them for the rest of my life.
I have seasonal depression. You done moved in the summer. You met them in the spring. Right. Summer, now they're a whole different person when the winter rolled around.
Yeah, that's true.
And you looking crazy.
That's very true.
Yep.
Okay, so we are going to do our Wifey for Lifey segment. This is our segment where we just try to figure out how we're going to stay wives for life.
Oh, boy.
So my question is, how do I take my boss hat off when I'm at home? Because that's a major complaint for a lot of men, especially men who are dating or married to high-achieving women, right? Who are running the show out in these streets. When you get home, what advice do you have?
You're asking me.
I'm asking you.
Oh, okay, great. So that is such a great question. And I have to say that their partner is the answer to that. Their partner is the answer to that. We have to be, as strong women who wear those hats, who do have a hard time like relinquishing, they have to be partnered with someone who they can trust to take it off for. You asked before, like, who hurt you, right? The question that I ask a lot of times with people is, who dropped you?
I felt that in my spirit.
Who did you trust that just kind of let you go? Didn't pick up the ball, didn't do what they said they were going to do, because that's where we start to overfunction. And when you understand that overfunctioning and overthinking is a trauma response, that you are
Girl therapy. We
responding.
invited a therapist. We
I need a
did.
tissue.
Right?
That you are responding and acting in this way
Wow.
because someone has hurt you deeply in the past and you have said to yourself, I will never go through that again. That is why you choose the right person. That because you cannot, especially as a Black woman in America, you cannot, should not carry all of that with you every hour of the day. You have to pick someone that, not just someone who's good in bed, or not just someone, okay, I'm gonna fuck them like whatever, and then once we're married, I don't have to. No, you got to pick the person where you don't have to do all of the heavy lifting, where you can start to let go and you can say, you know what? I don't got it. And I really need somebody else to have it so I can fully not have it for the next hour, week, weekend, month, whatever. I need to take care of myself because I am drowning right now. And know that that person is going to jump in and get it for you. That's what we need to be looking for.
The right partner.
Right. What was your question?
That is
though?
it. No. How do you take off the boss hat? It's
Jesus.
pick the right partner.
Pick the right person.
My gosh.
And then if you realize that you haven't, right? Because that's
A thing too.
a thing. You got to see if they want to be that person. Not try, and I did not say make them into that person. See if that's who they want to be. If they want to be the person, if they're saying, babe, I want to take something off of your plate. Okay. What would Jesus do? Okay. I'm gonna give you something real little first.
Yeah,
See
okay.
what you do with that.
Yeah, that part.
And see if I can trust you with more.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna turn over everything to you because I got trust issues. Okay. This is a
so good.
trust
Baby
exercise
steps.
for me.
This is so good.
But if you're telling me you want to help out, okay, can you pick up the kids on Thursday so that I can go to my therapy appointment and I don't have to cancel it for the 5th time? Can you take some time off work so that I can go get X, Y, and Z done because I'm running around here crazy? Can you, give them little things to do? Okay, let them prove themselves.
Here you go.
Yeah.
See how you do with this little task.
Because where we make the mistake is, okay, I ain't doing shit else. I'm going to bed, closing the room. I'm not doing, and then they fail, and you're like, see, I can't trust you with nothing.
That's definitely my story. I don't stop unless I crash. Like it's a hard stop.
And what we learn as we get older is that crashing comes more frequently and it's more disastrous.
Every time.
It's more catastrophic.
More often. Yeah, for sure. Like I physically get sick.
The capacity of what we can handle it diminishes. So we have to start doing a better job.
This was just so good. And I hope that y'all are catching this because I feel like we're in a culture of boss women and boss chicks, which is phenomenal. We're more educated. We're making more money. But as you said, it also can be a trauma response. And in my life, in the women that I know, oh my gosh, disappointed back to back from the men that we dated to our fathers, to our uncles. And we get to a place where we're just like, you know what? I know who won't fail me. And we literally don't stop until our body physically fails us. We literally don't stop until our body. Like my husband literally pointed out the other day, he was like, I get a sinus infection every time I crash. It's literally habitual.
So
Didn't even know though. My husband pointed it out. He said, do you know that every single time, so I edit our podcast, speak, I don't even have the time to list the things. Homeschool my kids, co-op, I'm moving like crazy.
God bless.
And then I added a new task on and my husband was looking at me. He didn't say too much. He was just like, this is not about to be good. Get sick out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Literally just out of nowhere. He's like, do you know this happens every time you just are in overdrive? And so I have a question for this.
Yeah.
For us women that have a difficulty working through trauma, abandonment, being dropped, how do we even encourage ourselves to ask more for help? Because I ask once I crash.
It is definitely something that you have to practice. It does not come naturally to us, these types of women. And it is something you have to actively pursue. You have to start doing it. And it's not going to be easy. I think that therapy helps, and talking these kinds of conversations help because you have someone that reminds you that you're not doing it alone, that reminds you, hey, you have a partner. Your partner has said, ask me. Here I am. Yeah. And they, again, can't read minds, so they're not going to volunteer to take something off your plate. And their hands have probably been smacked the last time they tried to take something off your plate. So they're just waiting on you, right?
Well, it's the smacking hand part.
They're just waiting on you to tell them what to do because they don't want to do it wrong. Yeah. Right?
That's big.
So they don't jump in.
Yeah.
And help and take over.
How you wash the dishes and don't wipe the counters?
See?
Y'all, I just asked my husband to do something that I was dreading asking him to do. And he texted me yesterday and was like, I love this new job I'm doing. Something that was like annoying to me, was such a bother. And I was like, okay, I literally cannot do this. Please do this for me. And he is so happy to be doing it. Yeah. So let the man. So I got to stop slapping his hand because I was slapping that hand like a little bit. Get your ass. I'll figure it out. Yeah. But they need to be needed.
That's so
good. We all need to be needed. We all need to feel needed, for sure.
I feel like we got our wifey keeps it spicy. Do you have some more spice? Because our last segment is supposed to be wifey keeps it spicy, but you have given us so much spice.
Really I mean, you know, I'm sitting here thinking of something.
You got something else in that treasure chest?
No. I'm done, child. I'm done. Y'all don't want me out tonight.
You woe out.
Because I was excited. I'm like, I got a load of questions.
And you did. And you did. You came. You came ready.
I'm excited. As the new wife on the panel, representing for the new news out here. Okay.
How long have you been married now? I feel like you've been married like at least 3 years.
Well, thank you. In January will be 3.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Coming up on 3 January.
There. Okay,
I'm excited. So it's important, though. These conversations are super important because I know I desire to be a wife forever, ever, ever. Yeah. I didn't know nothing about marriage. And I grew up in a home, my parents were married. I still didn't know nothing about marriage. I still didn't know how to be a wife. I still don't know how to be a wife. I'm figuring it out every day.
Because the thing is, you're learning how to be a wife to this man. And what that looks like, anybody that's ever been divorced, like it looks different in every situation. You're learning how to make a home. And how to make a healthy, happy home for your husband, for your babies, for yourself.
And it's hard. Yeah. And we are not having enough of these conversations.
Yeah.
And so
I applaud you guys for being able to do that.
The answer is therapy.
Listen, and the answer is therapy.
Like an outlet.
And not waiting until something crashes and burns to do it. But, you know, that might be a whole nother
Do you only work with sex? Like if people, hear this and they hear your voice and they're like, I need some of that in my life.
Yeah. No. So I work with individuals and couples. Some of them are partnered, some are not. I specialize in sex therapy, but I am classically trained as a mental health clinician. So I work with depression, anxiety, mood disorders, relationship issues. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex, but I specialize in that area.
So for the people, and that's for anybody anywhere, they don't have to be in Atlanta.
Oh, no, I am licensed in the state of Georgia, so you would need to be receiving mail here.
Got you.
Okay. For me to
that part.
No, that's right.
For me to see you. And right now, I will say I'm not accepting new patients.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean I won't be. So just check with me. My website for practice is myintimatedetails.com. I'm also on drtiffanytv.com. And I was sitting here thinking a minute ago, and this is why I was laughing. I was like, I forgot like half of my little credentials when you asked me to introduce myself. I'm an intimacy coordinator, which I haven't talked about. So part of one of the ways that I transition my career, because I do believe in multiple streams of things, of the coins, I use my expertise in psychology and in sex to do work on camera and also behind the camera. So many of your intimate scenes with nudity, with simulated sex, things like that in television and film, I choreograph those. I work with the actors to make sure those things look real, even though they are not on camera. So what you see on camera it comes a lot of times from obviously the actors and good writing, but also good intimacy coordinators who make sure that it looks as it should on camera. And that's what I do.
Who even knew that was going on behind the scenes, baby? A real production.
Wow.
Come on. Coaching them. You be coaching them together. Put your leg right there. Put your
We
head
got to, yes.
Wow.
Well, you got to hide the junk too.
Wow.
And like make sure that things aren't being seen that they don't want seen. Yeah. And make sure everybody feels safe too, because that is a very vulnerable position to be in.
Are people getting turned on? on the scene?
Sometimes it does happen. And it's not like, your body it responds to things, right? You
Rubbing and touching.
Yeah. So you don't fault someone for that, but you also make sure that we have things in place to help with that. So it may be putting a barrier in between people so that there are things keeping them body parts from touching.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just need to kind of, okay, let's take a break for a minute and get cooled off a little bit, and then we can come back and do this at another time. So.
Oof. Spicy.
I know,
Super spicy. Okay, so you gave your website.
Yes.
Look in this camera right here and tell the people your social media so they can stay connected.
Oh, everything is Dr. Tiffany TV. That's DrTiffanie TV. And that is on Instagram. That is on TikTok. It's on YouTube. And then also drtiffanytv.com.
Intimate Details Podcast.
Intimate Details Podcast. We will be coming back, I believe, in January. We may have some stuff sprinkled in before then, but definitely hard in January. And we really do create an open space, just like you are, for people to come in and talk about the intimate details of their lives, emotionally, physically. We talk about sex. We talk about relationships. We also talk about so many different things. We've talked about wine. We've talked about, different types of medical issues. We've had some GYNs on the show to talk about stuff that's going on with females. I mean, we talk about everything. Everything runs.
No,
it really, really
phenomenal.
runs. Yeah. And so it's been a really great podcast to do. I've had a lot of fun with it. And so much so that I needed a little bit of a break to kind of recalibrate.
It was heavy.
It was very heavy. And it made me kind of readjust kind of how I wanted to do this next season and next iteration of episodes. And I'm really excited for what we have going forward.
We're excited. Because if y'all enjoy this episode, you definitely have to make sure you go over and subscribe
Thank you.
to Dr. Tiff's podcast.
Thank you very
Intimate
much.
Details. We'll make sure we link it down below.
Thank you so much. I
Y'all,
appreciate that, sis.
Spice, jalapenos. I want to
Yes.
see habanero peppers in the comments,
Fire
okay?
sign.
Because bomb.com.
Yes.
If wifey don't know how to keep it spicy after this episode, sis, that ain't your right husband, okay?
Okay.
Dr. Tiff said if your body ain't responding, it ain't you, boo. It ain't your body, it's your boo.
I mean, it could.
She ain't say that.
There's a
I
lot of
said.
things. Yeah, you guys.
I said, that was me.
Yeah, that's what you
wife
heard.
Know
That's
it. Don't
what you
come looking for
heard.
her. Come looking for me. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share this video, all of the things. This is a Grown Woman TV original. See you next week.